let's talk about Nolan Traore, one of the more fun players upcoming in the 2025 NBA draft. So I got to see Nolan up close at Hoop Summit this year. I thought he was, my impression of him coming in was as a player that I wasn't sure how athletic he was. And I thought he was like more of a, oh, this is a first round pick in 2025. Then I saw him at Hoop Summit and I was like, oh no, this is like a real dude. The pace that he plays with, the poise he has, the decision making, all of that is incredibly impressive. Then he went and played for Quentin, my lord, San Quentin is how you say those words, over in the French league. I'm going to have to like learn how to pronounce French again. I fucking took French in high school and like I can't even. San Quentin. He averaged 12.3 points and 6 assists per game in 9 French league games, which is like awesome, ridiculous production for a guy that I believe was 17 years old when he was playing those games.
Just turned 18 in May. End of May, he turned 18.
He is a fantastic lead guard prospect. And we got to see him play at the U18s this summer for France. He played 22 minutes a night, averaged only 10 points per game, but dished out 7.3 assists and 3.8 turnovers, as we'll talk about. I think a lot of those turnovers were not his fault. And it is a really interesting situation that he got credited with a lot of those turnovers. I would expect that he will be named to the all-tournament team. Tournament isn't over yet. I believe that there is still the championship game to be played, right?
I did not check. I'd have to check what day it was.
Oh no, it happened today. I lied.
Today.
I thought the championship game was tomorrow. So Germany won the title. He was not named to the all-tournament team, which is a little bit bizarre to me, but whatever. The reason that he wasn't named to the all-tournament team is because France finished 5th in this tournament. They finished 5th because they lost to Israel in the quarterfinals. France went 5-1 in this tournament, and we will talk about Israel maybe next episode because Ben Seraph is a really interesting player that I want to dive deep into because I am fascinated by that guy.
Just real quick, might create the most separation on the ball of anybody I've watched so far in the 2025 draft. Like just real wiggle, start, stop, your favorite term, deceleration. The kid's good. He's very good.
Put it this way. Ben Seraph won MVP of the U18 despite the fact that Israel did not medal at the U18. And it was 100% the right decision.
Because he had 240 bombs.
That was the best player I saw at this tournament.
He was awesome.
The most impressive player. Having said that, Nolan Troare is also incredibly impressive, and it wouldn't surprise me if he does end up going higher than Ben Seraph in the NBA draft. I think I would still project that, in all honesty, at this point. In this game that we're going to talk about, we are going to break down his game in the round of 16 against Turkey. I believe that Traore had, it was maybe 16 points, 7 assists, and like 7 rebounds, something like that. Why are we doing Traore before Seraph, before Hugo Gonzalez? Frankly, because he's the best player that played at this tournament, right? So we want to dive deep into Traore. He was seen as the best player playing at the tournament coming into this. He was seen as the top 5 pick that was in that top group of prospects entering this cycle. So we want to dive deep into him first. Bryce, as somebody that had not seen Traore live coming into this 2025 NBA draft cycle, what was your impression of Nolan Traore?
Yeah, I was a big fan. I was very impressed. I am going to watch one more game. They actually played Lithuania and our guy, Kasparis Jakishonis. And he balled out. Both of those guys balled out. And so I'm excited to watch that one as well. I think the first thing that stood out to me when I turned on the film was how efficient and proficient he was in ball screen actions. And like the first 5 minutes, he was making all the right reads. He'd thrown a lob pass, a pocket pass, a hook, like everything, split the defense. and then went and scored himself. So he just was showing all of the ball screen stuff that I like. I think he plays with good pace. I also was kind of impressed with some of the contact he was able to play through, finishing with his left hand. The on-ball creation stuff I was really sold on. I'm interested to talk about the jumper with you a little bit more. And I know he's true on-ball guy. I would have liked to see a little bit more off-ball stuff. It seems like when he passed, he just kind of stood and watched. Maybe that's the context of who he is playing with. And then I thought even at times he had some good defensive engagement. I mean, there was times where it was lacking, but there was times where he picked up full court. He was making necessary off-ball rotations. Wouldn't have hated to see him a little more aggressive on the defensive boards at times, but overall, all I had kind of watched was highlights, clips, some synergy things here and there. These were the first full games, and it was really impressive.
Okay, so let's talk about Nolan Troare here and jump into the tape. So Traore is trailing right now here. This is Nolan Troare, number 0 for France. Just want to be clear for everybody.
Tape on his right wrist if you're like trying to pick him out whenever we haven't outlined it.
Yep. So this one here, you get to see just a little bit of the burst, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Wouldn't say he is like the fastest player out there, but would say that like he has some pretty real burst, plays with great bend, in my opinion. One thing you will see as well is the finishing, right? Like I think he has pretty good touch around the basket, but doesn't elevate at a super high level. And I think that the finishing around the rim is going to be interesting. Now, of course, with FIBA competition, I want to be clear for everybody. This area here, the painted area, is very difficult because I think, as people know from now watching the Olympics, there is no 3 seconds. Guys like this dude here for Turkey can really camp out in the lane, and it can be really, really difficult for those guys, smaller players, to be able to score. Spacing is incredibly hard to come by in FIBA. So when you see somebody like Traore consistently get into the paint, whenever guys are digging in here and coming up from the corner same side and helping, right? Because the closeout distance is shorter going out. It is impressive and worth noting that. So here, Traore gets the line, gets fouled. I put in a free throw of his as well, just to be able to see what the shooting mechanics look like. Any immediate takes on his shooting mechanics, Bryce?
Yeah, one thing with the explosion, like that first step was really good. I do think he moves fluidly. You mentioned the bend, all of that, just not a ton of vertical pop when he gets to them. I thought it looked good. I'm still trying to feel like, I feel like there's a little bit of a hitch right before the release or something. And the shooting mechanics, I've said it before on the pod, isn't always my like go-to thing, but I thought there was just a little bit of something at the very top, but I may be imagining it as well.
I think that the free throw looks pretty clean, which makes me think that it will probably be clean long-term, but we'll talk about one issue that I see moving forward whenever we go through more of the tape. I think he brings the ball back a little bit too far to his face as he's shooting. So this one here, we're at 8 minutes left in the first quarter. This one is what I would say is really his only like pretty rough turnover here. So this is coming out of an out of bounds play. He's going to come up and get the ball. They're going to run like this little screen here for Noah Essengay, another potential 2024 or 2025. I'm sorry. Going to take a minute to get used to that. 2025 first round pick. I'm not quite as high on Essengay as some others are, but this one here, he just kind of tries to force this in because this is like a set play, right? This is what they're trying to do, where they're trying to get Essengay, who brought the ball in, off of this little curl here, flashing to this area where Essengay is very successful. And you'll see he just like completely whiffs on the screen. I think that's Leon Schiffelin. Just completely whiffs on the screen. I think Essengay should probably catch this ball, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think Traore, I think that's a really nice defensive play. I think he predetermines the read. It looks at one point like Essengay is gonna keep moving across and has just enough of an advantage. And whether, who knows whose fault it's kind of like a quarterback throws an interception, right? Because all of a sudden the receiver's settling down into a spot instead of continuing to move. I would still put that on Nolan there, but I kind of understand what he was seeing, and like maybe there was a short little pocket to go ahead and throw it in there. I think he ultimately just predetermined like, hey, he's going to curl off here. I'm going to hit Essengay on this and let him, curl in and score. And then just didn't really recognize the defender, didn't get hung up on the screen.
Yep. I think that's absolutely true. I would still like to see him catch the ball.
Sure.
And then this here, great defensive play. Like,
that's awesome.
Motor is pretty good. Yeah, Motor is good. He has really good hands. I think that he generally tries to defend. Now we'll see a couple of moments where I think he kind of gets caught a little bit, but generally a guy that I think is a solid defender.
What I like real quick right there is he played with his chest initially, hands were up, and then he went for the dig on the ball after the offensive player had exposed. So he got decently in guarding position, not perfect, but pretty good, getting his chest for the most part right now. His right hand is up. I think his left hand eventually comes up as well. And then he digs. Yeah, both hands are up. Now, right, that's perfect, Sam. Great job. And the ball is exposed, and then Traore is able to come down and dig at it. Just really, really good stuff.
Really, really good stuff. I agree. So this one, again, off of an out of bounds play. He's going to set a screen here, come around, get into a screen action, and just an awesome little dump off pass here. This is a really fun play from France. In the way that we do these breakdowns for people who maybe don't know, maybe didn't watch some of the 2024 NBA draft breakdowns, I go through, I pull all of the tape where Traore or whoever we're breaking down does something, right, is involved in the play, both on offense or defense. And then we really run through and talk about it. So this one here, I think that what the goal is here is I think France is anticipating that Turkey is going to switch this action here as Essengay set this screen and then comes around and goes. And they're hoping that by getting this guy caught here, that it will free this man or free Essengay as the trailer in some sort of breakdown. But Turkey deals with it really well. They have the screen action on the backside to be able to create the easy outlet. Then it just turns into ball screen stuff, right? And it turns into like a beautiful, beautiful empty side Spain action.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome.
And for people who don't know Spain necessarily, so Spain action is going to be screen here by the big, and then the inbounder is going to come up and try to set a screen on the bigs man and then shoot up to the 3-point line for essentially like a pick and pop, right? So watch it in full motion here. I love this because there are just multiple options on the play, right? Like that's the big thing. There are multiple options across the board.
Watch this back door. Excuse me, I don't know who this France player is, but the back door from the France player, that actually gets Traore's man to step over. And then now that gives him the advantage coming off this other screen. Look how far his man is away from him now. Now he's trying to go underneath the screen, gets him behind. And then now he's, not ready to navigate the ball screen. Like all of that plays off. So that's a great backdoor cut from Traore's teammate to get that help to step off and created a little bit of an advantage for him to start off. And then just like you mentioned, really cool action overall.
Yep. This one, it ends up being wide open for the dump off to the big. Easy bucket there. That was a fantastic play by France. Really, really good. This one here, we're going to get into another screening action, another Spain action. Traore reads it perfectly.
That was pretty good off-ball movement there. He did a decent job getting back to the 3-point line. So I critiqued that a little bit in the lead up, but this isn't bad.
Yep. So same action again. Schiffelin is their shooter that they try to get the ball to on pick and pops. So he's going to come up, try to set this screen on the big, kind of go sit, and then Traore relocates. So here's where we want to get into the shot, right? I think his shooting pocket, he brings the ball a little bit too close this way as opposed to just like coming up fluidly. And I think that's like really fixable and will be like quite easy to get rid of.
He could have
So
relocated a
here,
little. You see how he's just kind of standing there at the elbow to start, and now he's backing
yep,
out as he's getting the catch. So that's where I'd like to see him just be a little bit better. Small thing, but off ball movement is important still for on ball creators.
totally agree. And that play is a great example of why. This one here, block, and now we're out in transition. Just an awesome decision maker in transition generally. Finds the sprayed shooter, misses the three here. But again, just, you can see the vision. Just look at him looking up the whole way after he gets this outlet, right? Like as soon as he catches the ball, the eyes are up, right? Catches, eyes go up, and he's trying to find where exactly he's going to put this ball. He's thinking, I think, immediately that he's going to pass. I don't think he's looking at this as a way to try and score at all. He knows that by pressuring this man to his right, it's going to pull that help defender in. He sprays the ball out perfectly. That's like easy, smart decision making as a basketball player to me.
And these last two clips are really good examples why assists aren't created equal. I mean, I think in the two clips ago, I think his guy that filled to the top in the Spain should have just shot it. There, he creates a really wide open shot, and his teammate doesn't make it. Like that's why you can't always just believe the assists and the turnover numbers.
Yep, no question. So this one, screen into a rescreen action.
That's beautiful. Good patience. Not a good finish.
Yep. But he does end up getting the assist. So again, the patience that Bryce brings up, 100% right. Look at the little stop there, gets the guy on his hip. It's like exactly what you're looking for. Tries to engage the big defender, decides to kind of settle for this little ugly floater shot. I mean, that's like something that just is probably going to have to go at the end of the day for him.
I agree.
I don't like that shot. I don't think it really makes all that much.
I thought he finished well with his left, so I'm surprised he just didn't go on with his left hand here.
Yep, I am too. He creates an easy contest from number 13 here from Turkey. Right shot, right hand. It's going to be hard to finish that. I like that he stays engaged, finds that little passing angle for the dump off to their big. Easy bucket, right? This one is defense, right? So we're going to see him just kind of pressure the ball here. He's going to keep pressuring, gets over the screen reasonably well, gets over another screen, fights back in front, right?
Multiple efforts. Really good. That's good stuff.
Yep. That's just exactly what you're looking for. It's exactly what you're looking for textbook wise in terms of on ball defense, fighting over the top of screens. So
even at I was just gonna say the very first one. So as the guy dribbles across go on to the other side of the floor, his man will dribble. You see him right here. He sees the screen. See how he jumps up? Even I know it doesn't look like a whole lot, but I guarantee his man said the screen was coming, and his reaction to jump up, get on that hip to get over the top, even though the screen didn't actually, that's great instinct. Like that's really good foundational ball screen defense. I love seeing that from him. Right here, you like whether he sees it, it's called out, but he jumps up and he takes up that space so he can get over the top.
Yep, that's right. The other thing worth noting here, and we'll see this in a later clip, France was kind of hedging these actions, right? So he has to jump up there to get around his man, let alone the screener as well. I love the way he jumps up there to do that. We'll see him get clipped on another one later that I don't really think was his fault. But yeah, I love the way that he just recovers. This one fights around the screen again, sprints back in recovery, doesn't try and like slide, actually literally turns his hips, sprints back in front of his man, gets back in front. This is exactly what you're looking for.
Even right here, there's engagement. Like watch right here. He knows the shot clock's down. He like just stunts at the guy.
Yep.
Like it's a really good possession. The more I watch the NBA, Sam, the more I'm like multiple efforts is a huge part of quality, especially on ball defense, but just defense. And guys are too good. You're going to get beat at times. Are you willing to give a second effort? Like you said, turn your hips, pick a spot in front and cut him off. And he had 3 or 4 really good efforts on that one possession.
That's right. So this one, again, another like kind of out of bounds play, if I remember correctly, where this is coming out of. Get to see just the little creativity as a shooter, a little shot creator, right into the mid range here. So he takes this reversal, asks for the ball screen to go away. He clearly feels comfortable with this matchup. That's a nasty little behind the back here. Turkish defender makes a weird decision there to try and like almost tackle him. It looks like he's just into this mid-range spot. And I think that this is kind of where you see the hitch going back toward his face quite a bit, right? Like
Yeah.
he bringing it out like a little bit away from his body. And then look where it is here. Like it's right here. And then
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's what I was like. I just felt like there was a little bit of something.
yeah, let's see. And then it's like ends up all the way back here toward his face a little bit, right? That's like real movement kind of going back and forth toward your face. That I think is what he'll kind of have to excise. And the reason that I'm guessing he does that is to generate power.
Sure.
Because the thing that he is right now physically is quite thin through his lower half.
Agreed.
As you can see, like he's really elevating into this shot. Like look at how high up off the ground he is. I think that as he continues to get a little bit older and that lower half continues to get stronger, he will be just fine as a shooter. And this little hitch thing will probably get cleaned up and will go away because he doesn't need it to generate power quite as much as what he has to right now. The touch is there though. Like the ball comes out of his hand pretty cleanly, pretty softly, right? He just ends up missing it a little bit to the left because it's a lot of moving parts in the shot, right?
Yep. No, I think I'm with that.
So next up here, again on the ball, kind of waiting for this thing to go through. They end up kind of peel switching this for reasons beyond my comprehension, but I love the battle on the lower half there, right? This must have just been like a possession where they're switching. The other thing, the reason I put this on here as well is, I mean, look at him kind of calling out, right? Like he's clearly aware of what's happening behind him.
Yeah.
We've got communication here with his hand, right?
Yep. 100%.
So we've got communication there. He's saying screen coming up to his left. There is another screen coming up to his right, though, because they're running a horn set.
I wonder if they were just going to switch horns. If they hedge horns, it could be a quick to the other big and throw it. I don't know. Maybe they're just going to switch horns for some reason.
Yeah, it might not have been a peel. It might have just been like, hey, we're just going to switch this, right? And that was what the scout was. We're not in the room, so like we don't know necessarily. But what I like here is just look at the physicality immediately, right? Engages already, boxes out, kind of gets leveraged a little bit, but the effort is there. He's trying. He's really trying to be engaged on defense.
And he keeps his man occupied enough on that rebound that his man doesn't go and get it. Like his teammate comes in and cleans it up. But at the very end here, he'll fight enough that he has his man boxed out. And I don't think his man ends up getting off the ground to try to grab the board.
Yep. That's dead on too. I love there too. He's got like the half front as well, thinking that they're going to try and throw this entry. Yeah, it's perfect. This is exactly what you want from a smaller guard defending. And, Traore is like somewhere between 6'2" and 6'3". He has long arms. He has like 6'7", 6'8" wingspan. He's not like a, super small guard or anything. He'll be small by NBA standards, but he's not like a midget or anything. Like he's not wildly small. This one here, he's going to come up, get the ball. Defender over pursues. And you just see paint touches into 3-pointers, right? Yep. The feel on him kicking the ball out, the feel on his passing and where the help is coming from, it's just always there to me. That's the big thing that stands out is, here kind of splits these two defenders, has a plan. Like he has a plan immediately for what he's going to try and do here. He knows when he gets this ball here and this defender over pursues and he has an angle to be able to drive, he has a goal. He has a purpose that he's trying to accomplish, right? He is going to try and split these two and engage that defender. And he sees as soon as this defender takes just that very slight hop step in, he's got the kick out to Diakite.
Well, and the defender has his back turned to his man too. So now, like even though he's kind of there on the closeout, he's turning around. He doesn't know exactly where he's at. So I think we saw it in that transition clip as well. He understands when this defender when he sees the defender's chest like he does here, that he knows that's a hard closeout for him to make.
Yep. That's exactly, absolutely right. This one here, again, kind of the same action. This one, he just gets a clean lane to the basket, but you can see the burst, the acceleration, right? So, little screen here for him to come up and get the ball. And then they're going to set a screen right around there, I believe, for him to come up and be able to get to the basket. This is just a nice little set, right? And what I think he's looking at here that I like is he's looking at that defender, right? Like you can literally see his eye line. He's trying to figure out, okay, is this defender going to slide over and try and help? Or is he going to stay attached to the shooter, right? He's looking weak side to see where the help is coming from. He realizes the defender is going to stay and he just ends up elevating and scoring. Just has really great feel, has really, really great feel for a teenage guard. I think that's what stands out to me about Traore. You know exactly what you're getting with him every single time. This one, just a baseline drive. I don't even think it's a drift. I think he's just sitting in the corner the whole way, right? Gets the kick out in like semi transition, 19 seconds left on the shot clock here. Drive, throws that little lefty pass as well, if you can see it. Right on the money. Just misses the shot at the end of the day. But it's a great, great pass. This one, he's the inbounder. Again, I think to your point.
I feel better now seeing another game of it where I know he's an on-ball guy, but even something like this, I know he makes the shot, but he's stepping back out to the three. He should be in the corner right now. Like he should have ran right to the corner.
Yep. Yeah, I like that he gets there eventually and you see the touch, right? Like you absolutely see that, there's real shooting potential here, but he really just needs to be there immediately. Drills it. Like he can shoot. Like I think he made 45% from three in this tournament, right? Like they made 50% of his threes, only took, maybe 12, 13 of them throughout. The shooting is the big skill for him, right? Because he hasn't always been like a great shooter. I would say he's probably somewhere between he's like a 30 to 33 probably percent 3-point shooter right now in actuality. He's really going to have to be a great shooter. I think it's a lot of because he's thin at the end of the day. And I think the shot will come. He consistently does, if I remember correctly, knock down free throws like at a pretty real level.
So
82% in 2022, 23, 75% free throw shooter this year. Coming into this tournament was 77% from the free throw line in 2023. I think he'll shoot it. It's just going to take a minute.
Yeah. And you outline the important stuff, which is the strength aspect of it and how that can kind of affect him right now, especially from distance, off the dribble, those type of attempts.
Yep. So this one, gets the kind of switch that he wants. You see the burst to get all the way to the rim, right? So he didn't even get the switch, did he? He just ended up liking the matchup. Like that he was able to get downhill, crosses his guy over, turns his shoulders, gets all the way to the rim. I think he is here. Again, kind of looking. You can see his eyes this way. I think he's trying to see this guy, in all honesty, to see if that guy's helping. Because if that guy's not helping, I think he's probably going to dump this, dump it off to the big. But because he sees that help, he almost loses this ball here, you can see as well. Like it's just slightly off of his hand here to me, it looks like. Not quite all the way in the hand there. I think that's why you see like kind of the weird ball kind of fly everywhere. I do wonder if he has kind of smaller hands. I would be curious to have like a measurement there, because I do feel like he has like a couple moments like that, and when he's like gathering to load to the basket. But yeah, I mean, the explosion and the ability to get to the basket and get downhill here is the key. In the NBA, where there's defensive 3 seconds and where the driving lanes are a little bit wider, I actually do think this is a pretty easy finish for him. The key is just being able to get downhill and get to the straight line finish.
Yep. No, I mean, it's a great move up top, just the left to right crossover kind of froze the defender. I think, that's how he's going to have to finish at the rim though, right? Like we don't think he's ever punching that on the defenders. Like it's going to be these finesse kind of touch off the glass type of finishes, right?
Yeah, in all likelihood, I think that's right. Like he might like punch one or two, maybe,
Yeah,
but
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not going to be consistent, not by any stretch.
He's not a non-athlete. I'm not trying to like discount him. I'm just thinking, I think his finishing around the rim is going to be based on touch, finesse, creativity, playing the angles off the backboard more than it is just like power and vertical pop explosion in those situations.
Yep. So this one here, to the corner, goes up, gets the ball. Then we get another screen. Guy goes under the screen. And he just drills the three, right? This is a big shot for me because if he's just comfortable doing this, it does really change a lot for him. Now sees his man go under here, 29. He decides to kind of shoot under the screen. He goes to the 3-point line here. He sees he has space and he's just confidently willing to fire. If he's willing to do that, it's a really big deal for him as a
I like
scorer.
the footwork too. Right, I'm a 1-2 guy, and he's done it twice now, going to his left, where he goes right, left, which going to your left, that's the footwork I would want to see, and it looks really good.
Yep, right,
And
left.
then
That's
one's
the one. That's the two. Gets them down, gets balanced. And again, you see him bring the ball back toward his face a little bit, but you're 100% right that that's the footwork that you want to see, but it's not supernatural for righties either to be able to get to that footwork consistently.
Yeah, he has just a little bit of yeah. When he gets stronger, he'll be able to get rid of it if he wants. Hear him picking up full court.
Picking up full court pressure.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good, right? Fighting over the top, cuts off the angle again. It's pretty
good,
right?
That's a lot of efforts.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So 1 effort, 2 efforts, 3 efforts.
Look at him give his chest too when he gets there. Like he squares it up, cuts
4,
him off. 5.
And the jump to the ball. That's outstanding. That is absolutely outstanding from Traore. He's pumped. You can see it. I absolutely love it. I loved that. That's one of my favorite moments of this game is him picking up full court and just making this guy's life absolutely miserable. He can defend. He can really defend on the ball, has the length, has the quickness to stay in front. This one, just kind of an easy set play.
On time, on target passing is important from a primary guy though, Sam. Like we just talked about this with Tyus Jones, right? Like you got to have a guy that puts it in KD's hands at the right time. He has to read this screen along with his teammate, knowing that his teammate's not going to curl off this one like we saw earlier. He's actually going to drift off it a little bit, and he puts it perfectly. Yeah, and he's looking the other direction right now.
Looking that way the whole way to try and, I think, get this guy thrown off potentially. Looking that way the whole way. Turns last second. Throws this ball right in the pocket.
Yep.
Right in the shooting pocket for the spacer. Drills it.
It's a nice pass.
On time, on target. I'm glad you brought it up, Bryce. This one kind of ends up having to pick the ball up early.
I like how he gets open. You can see the change of direction just in that stuff. There's the left hand. That's a tough drive through contact.
Burst through contact, left hand.
Watch him get open though, right here.
Yep. It's a good effort to get open. Rejects the screen. Just realizes I'm faster than this dude and I'm getting to the basket. Nothing you can do. Gets to the basket, finishes. Left hand. Great finish. This one, inbounder here. I mean, just a ridiculous find to me to be able to find that guy. That's definitely not the set play, I don't think, right?
Nah, it is. This guy's setting the weak side.
Oh, yeah, it is.
He's setting the flare. But still, he puts it right where it needs to be, right on time.
Teams really don't like running that opposite side action like that because it puts like the basket in play. Yeah, it has to be because it has to be that this is the play. I think you're right, Bryce, and I'm wrong for him to come there because he's open.
Yeah.
Like this screen gets this guy loose.
I'm surprised he's so locked into, because I would understand this, like if there was a little less time or something like that. Like he must have just really wanted to, maybe his guy had just hit a shot or two or something like that, and wanted to feed him again.
Well, he's a shooter.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
guy
yeah.
for sure.
And he hit the one he did hit the one a couple possessions ago that we talked about in the half court set.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a great pass though. It's like right on the money, right where you want the ball. Again, like on time, on target. Just misses the shot, right? So this one, he is in the corner, left corner here. This is the one where he kind of gets caught up, right? His man kind of catches him on the screen. They end up drilling a 3 here. So kind of go back. He gets screened here. And why does he get screened? So generally a little bit far off. I think that like he ends up allowing himself to get attached to this man a little bit too easily as he sets this screen. So lets himself get attached a little bit too easily, gets clipped here by number 18. I would almost like him to understand that he's going to have to peel this, right? And go out to that shooter, given who is out there. So not like an awesome moment, but, acceptable enough, right? We don't know what their rotations are. We don't know what they're trying to do necessarily. So that's a big question to me. Scramble defense wasn't always awesome, I thought, from Traore, decision-making wise. So this one, stops the ball in transition, just kind of stands there to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's kind of standing in the paint. Does use that length to try and create like a tougher pass out, but then like doesn't really close out, hands down on the closeout, right? Again, you'd like to see the scramble instincts a little bit better on defense, but I like the on-ball defense enough to where I don't think that he's like a bad defender by any stretch. And then this one, Essengay throws this like disastrous pass. He gets a little bit frustrated. I have no idea why he looped that ball like 25, 30 feet. He tries athletically to keep the ball in, but just ends up throwing it out. That was a turnover on Essengay. They didn't call it on Traore, but we will get to the minute here where he does get hit with a couple turnovers that I think are a little bit BS here in the second half coming up.
I did have lack of focus on closeouts in my notes, so that was something that I caught in another game as well. Just a little more intensity and focus with those.
Yep. So this one, playing off the ball, kind of jogs up the court, right? They're in a zone. Turkey is in a zone. I think he's recognizing this now. He sees the baseline man immediately, throws like a perfect touch pass, right? Like exactly what you're looking for vision-wise there. Traore, now we're into the third quarter. I love that this one, you can look at his vision, right? I think that he even makes like a quick little look here right before he catches it. I thought that he did a little look at this corner man here and saw that his man Schiffelon is going to be wide open again for a 3. Again, on time, on target. We talked about Tyus Jones, constantly available, goes and gets the offensive rebound, resets, and then throws a lob pass to Essengay, which wasn't awesome, but I think Essengay is not paying enough attention here, frankly. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no,
I think that's a good pass for what it's worth.
And he was asking for it too. He
Yeah.
even pointed. So I don't think it's high. Maybe it came a little hot for him. Maybe it came in a little too hot.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good decision though. It's definitely a good decision. I guess that you could quibble with execution. He even ball fakes right before he throws it to stop the.
Literally freezes this dude here.
Yeah, he's got some nice little nuance in these situations to hold defenders. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. I mean, he would probably tell you that he wants that pass back and wants to put a little bit more touch on it.
Yeah,
I think that Essengay should probably catch that ball here. to be honest. He goes up with like one hand. Why does he go up with one? So here
he's pointing. I think it just got on him too quick. I don't think he was ready for it.
Yep. I think that's right.
I actually think Traore throws. I like his lob passing, and I think he sees it. He tries to throw them effectively, and I think that's an important part as you're moving to the NBA, throwing those out, transition, ball screens. So,
totally. This one here, Traore crosses his man up at the elbow, forces is that Diakite's man to stay in the lane, recognizes it, sees that his man is floating to the corner here, puts it right on him. Ends up being a foul, I think, somewhere there. Again, ball screen. Realizes that Turkey is in a zone again. It's not really realizing, they've been in zone for a little while now, but like finds the right pass. Again, you can see him like manipulating this middle defender. This guy had like no idea where Traore was going with the ball throughout this game.
He's really good with his eyes.
Really good with the eyes. You can see him look away. Kind of right there, right before. He's kind of looking away over there, like in the frame before this one. Freezes that center defender. Ends up creating an easy little pass there. This one, Diakite with a block, and now he's just out in transition, and you see the speed. Like,
yeah,
serious up and down speed, Traore. Like, you get him the ball in transition, he's going to go. Ends up getting fouled. This one here, again, guarding off the ball, does a good job staying attached, trailing.
Like the hand activity. He knew where the ball, he knew exactly where they were trying to go with the ball. He just stayed in that passing lane.
Yep.
Don't like the closeout, liked everything before it, though.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So let's go back here again.
Like
I'm really glad you called out.
Yeah. This is really good.
Yeah. He's like clearly trying to cut off this post.
Yep.
You can see by his footwork, he's trying to push, like he's giving this guy like an open lane to the middle of the court because he knows that they're trying to get it to this guy. He knows that he has help here probably. He has help on the back line here. He's trying to force this guy to the middle and has no problem letting him go into the middle because the goal is to get him to that post guy, right? So again, final effort to try and cut off the post pass, stays in front. Again, engaged here, long arms.
He's telling low man too. He was pointing right there. He right before that, you see him pointing. He's telling somebody, you got low man, you're the tag, something on the bottom of the defense.
Yep, telling that guy, you've got to be available for this man here. I like that he's communicating. His guys just get beat here, and that's a tough spot for him, right? Again, you would like to see the closeout better. Like the closeout technique has to get better. I like the second effort, but he's just going to have to get better closing out. That's
so here's one thing that maybe the shot clock was way down. He may not have thought there was time. Nah, maybe not. I'm probably giving it
bad closeout.
Yeah, bad closeout.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So this one,
not as good. Gave up the back door.
Not as engaged, right? But you know, I think again, the thing here is they're trying to stop this dude. I don't know enough about Turkey's team, but they're trying to stop this dude from posting the whole time, right? So he's here on the double. Ends up giving up that easy layup to his man. Kind of flat-footed there. His man cuts to the basket. I would be interested to just know, this is one where like we're not in their locker room, so we don't know what their strategy is, right? They really might just be like leaving the backside man 1-on-2.
Yeah.
Right? Like that might have been their goal here. We're leaving the backside man 1-on-2. We're doubling from the baseline onto this guy before the catch, making sure we're available. This guy has to be responsible for that guy, right?
Yeah, and if that's the case, the only thing I'd like to see is him communicate more demonstratively with that guy And maybe he did. We can't always see community. He looks at him, but I don't ever see him like point or like see where we can see him talking.
He does look back at him real quick, but like I don't think he's talking enough there. I mean, it could be like he freelanced, or it could be that, you know, Diakite screwed up, right?
Yeah.
But leads to a bucket. Regardless. Next. So that was Traore turnover there. They gave Traore a turnover for that one. So when you see like 5 turnovers in this game, I mean, come on. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Catch the ball, Diakite. Put it right in his hands. He gets the turnover there. This one, though, again, gets back. It's the strip in transition. Yeah. Second turnover in this game where he's ended up fighting back, forced a live ball deflection, and forced the ball out of bounds and made them reset instead of getting an easy bucket. The effort is there. Like, I think he really does give defensive effort. I think he's probably going to be okay on defense in the NBA. This one, I mean, you're seeing him shift gears with like ease here, right? So let this play through again.
I think another left-hand finish too.
Yep. Shifting gears, turning, right? Kind of splits that man. I can't totally tell how he splits him, like how he gets through this.
Oh,
did he what?
He dribbled that again. So he.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
That's one thing these little navigation dribbles of those secondary defenders is something I try to watch for with guys more and more, because not everybody can do this. They see this help defender and they would have picked the ball up, and then they wouldn't have got as deep into the lane as what he got. That's a really impressive dribble here. Left hand.
I think he like inside outs it.
No, he outside.
I think he like inside outs it. Yeah. Like, I think he puts this. So it's outside hand. Look at his hand go like inside here, kind of. And then I think he like pushes it that way to inside out it with his left the whole way.
Yeah, I don't think that ball ever touches. Yeah, that's nice.
That's sick. That's a really sick navigation dribble there to be able to get through that space. Finishes with the left. To do all of that with his left hand is really sick. So this one here, I mean, like, I kind of put this on the ref. Like, this ball clearly hits the Turkish guy's foot.
Yeah.
Like, you can see it. Let's see if I can get, I don't know. I'm not great at the stop start stuff yet. Yeah. You can literally see it hit the black shoe, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we got to stop the play there, right? we got to get a kickball. But that's another one of his turnovers, right? So, like, yeah, you'd like to see, you know, be a little bit more careful with the ball, I guess, than 3 turnovers even. But a few of these weren't on him, right? So this one, easy same side drive and kick. You know, this is just simple stuff, right? And this is the last one. He only played through the third quarter in this game. Yeah, so like, having now gone through a second game here, I think that Traore is definitely like a top 10 guy in this class to me.
Agreed.
The speed, where do you think he would have gone in this draft, this most recent draft?
Ooh. I mean, with the teams or just big board?
Let's say with the team. So like, Atlanta probably doesn't take him 1 because they have Trae, right?
Washington might. Probably.
Washington, I think, takes him at 2. I think he's a better prospect than Alex Sarr. And I liked Alex Sarr a lot, and I had Sarr at 1.
Yeah. It would be close for me. I'm still, even after Summer League, I'm still I'm a fan of Sarr still.
Yeah, so am I.
Just the size totally and the archetype and all of that. But I think my answer is he's right in the mix with all of those guys. Like, I don't think he would have been a tier above like Cooper Flagg would be. Like, I probably VJ Edgecombe, Ace Bailey maybe would be, but I think Traore would be right there in the same. He would have been right in the conversation. And here's the thing: we're evaluating him a year before
Correct.
those other
He's
guys,
going
right?
to get better.
Yeah. So this, when you ask me this 8-9 months from now, it may very clearly be like, listen, Traore 100% no matter what, or maybe we find flaws in his game throughout this next year. So like that's the caveat with that as well. But yeah, I mean, I think he very much would be in the conversation.
Yeah, so like him versus Reed is close to me, right? I was too big of a coward to put Reed at 1, so I put him at 2. I'm just like at this point admitting it, right? Like I said this on the Rookies Summer League show, but like the way you and I talked all year, like it was clear that Reed was my favorite guy in the class. Like maybe, Cam Spencer or whatever, like in terms of guys that I just like enjoy. But Reed was the guy that I talked about all year, is like this is the upside swing in the class. I don't know where I would rank Traore next to Reed, but I think that Traore is probably the guy that I would take. Like I would take him over Ricochet. I would take him over Sar. I would take him over a number of guys here, which says to me, like right now, I would have him below Edgecombe. I would have him below Dylan Harper. I'd certainly have him below Cooper. I don't know what the fuck to do with Ben Seraph yet. We'll talk about him maybe on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever we record next. He's like a top 5 guy in a good draft to me right now. Whether or not that holds, we'll see. But I think this tape says that he should be right around a top 5-ish guy in the class.
And again, it's important. Like he just turned 18 and is about to go into his draft season, where we already saw, like, we just watched Reed shoot 50% for a whole season with Kentucky. And that's why you were so high on him with all of the other stuff. We haven't even got that film from Traore yet. And with him being in a pro league over there, it's going to be really fun evaluation. If he's over there cooking and making reads and the turnovers go down and the 3-point percentage goes up, he very easily could play himself into the conversation. So we still have a lot of data with Traore left.
Yeah, and part of the reason that people were so excited about Traore too was played at, what was it? Was it the Schweitzer? No, it wasn't the Schweitzer. It was I think Next Gen. I think it was the ANGT, right? And was like totally dominant, like completely and utterly blew up there. Had 45 against Barcelona and Kasparis, right? Had 20 and 6 assists in the game before that. Had 18 and 5 assists, right? Like he was the best player, arguably. I think that Hugo Gonzalez won MVP of the ANGT, but like he was the best player at the tournament, I thought, whenever I watched those games. And then prior to that, they played Osvel in a playoff series at San Quentin. He had 25 points in a playoff game against Osvel, right? And it's just like, oh shit, like this is a real thing. Osvel has Sean Thomas, David Lighty, Yusufa Fall, Paris Lee, Joffrey Laverne, Tim Luawu Cabarro, like serious dudes who can play. Mike Scott, played in the NBA for a little while, and he went out and dropped 25 against that team and was really, really good and had 7 assists in that game and like significantly looked the part. So this is not the only sample that we've seen of Nolan Traore. We've seen him play well against professionals at this point. We've seen him play well against this group of players, the ANGT. I think he is a really, really outstanding prospect.
Yep. No, he's a lot of fun. I'm excited to watch him and how things go and grow this next, like say 8-9 months.